Russia has requested a meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss the allegations swirling around the town of Bucha and Moscow's denials of wrongdoing there. However, Britain, the current council president, has refused, saying there's already a meeting scheduled for Tuesday. Meanwhile, the United States is seeking Russia's suspension from the UN Human Rights Council. US Ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, said in a tweet, "The images out of Bucha and devastation across Ukraine require us to now match our words with action." And speaking in the last few hours, President Biden has called for a war crimes trial against Russia's President Vladimir Putin. Mr. Biden also said he's seeking more sanctions against Moscow.
To make before I start today. You may remember I got criticized for calling Putin a war criminal. Well, the truth of the matter is so what happened in Bucha. This warrants him, he is a war criminal. But we have to gather the information. We have to continue to provide Ukraine with the weapons they need to continue the fight. And we have to gather all the detail so this can be have a war crime trial. This guy is brutal. And what's happening in Bucha is outrageous. And everyone's seen it. Up to Allah. No, I think it is a war crime.
What are you going to do about it, sir? Are you going to do more sanctions on Russia?
I'm seeking more sanctions, yes. I'll have time to announce that to you.
Can you actually hold Putin accountable, though? You called him a war criminal.
He should be held accountable.
Without sanctions?
Well, no.
What else can you do?
No. Go the war crime tribunal. Yes, I'm going to continue to add sanctions. Thank you.
Joe Biden. Well, our US correspondent Eric Ham is across all those developments, and he joins me now from Washington. Good to see you, Eric. So President Biden calling for a war crimes trial against Russia's President Vladimir Putin following those allegations of alleged atrocities by Russian troops in Ukraine. Your analysis of this, did he say more about how such a trial might happen?
He did not. In fact, he was asked this when he returned from his Delaware home to the White House early this morning, and he was posed these questions by the pool. And he said that he had been saying that Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. We remember, of course, him referring to Putin as a thug. And he says that he believes that these are war crimes, and he believes that there needs to be greater investigation into these atrocities in the town of Bucha. We also heard from the president this morning where he also continued to suggest that this was not genocide, but these are war criminals. He did not go into details about that, but he did say that this is spurring the United States to engage in additional talks with its allies across the West, and that there will be more sanctions forthcoming. He did not identify what those sanctions are or perhaps when those sanctions will go in place, but he said that this is something that the United States is now looking at. It does beg the question, Charles, is this going to now lead to further sanctions, particularly on Russia's lucrative oil and gas sector? That is something that, of course, many have been calling for, but because Europe is so dependent on Russian oil and gas right now, that has been seen as a red line that they have been unwilling to cross. These continued images of bodies spread across that town could actually spur a change, but right now we don't know. But the president is saying that these are war crimes. In fact, we're now seeing that the United States is calling for Russia to be removed from the United Nations Human Rights Council. That seems like that could actually happen, but again, that would largely be symbolic and not necessarily bring any additional pressure on Russia to change its tactics in Ukraine.
Well, that's a very good point you raised there, and I was going to ask you that question, but you got to it, and rightly so. But Russia, Eric, has also asked for a meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss those allegations of war crimes, but the current president of the council, which is Britain, has refused. What's the latest on that?
Yeah, that's right. We are now seeing a really heated back and forth taking place in the United Nations, and it seems like this is becoming ground zero for where we're beginning to see talks and discussions about potential war crimes. Already, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas Greenfield, has been pushing this issue, we know, at the UN, and we're going to continue to see efforts by this. It's interesting that Great Britain, who is overseeing this now, we have already heard from the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson condemning the actions of Russia in Ukraine, and now we're seeing Great Britain actually thwarting Russia's efforts at the United Nations. So I think this is something that is, again, all of this is still largely symbolic. I think what many are watching now to see what the United States, what the West is going to do. We're already learning that the United States is now allowing for these these Soviet-era tanks to actually enter into Ukraine to provide additional military assistance. And so that's continuing to play out, the military aid that's actually going to Ukraine right now.
Eric, thanks very much indeed. Arise US correspondent Eric Ham talking to me there from Washington.